We've made it to the summary of errors and exceptions, which are issues with your program that cause execution to stop. One of the most common errors is the syntax error. This is distinctly different than all the others. This is invalid Python, which means no lines of code are executed, even if all the other lines are correct. A type of syntax error is an indentation error. We have wrong indentation, usually in a code block. We then moved on to exceptions. These are all the others. There are several dozen of them. So an exception is different than a syntax error in that all the lines of code are executed before the exception happens, and then execution is halted. So you can catch these exceptions, which means that you can handle them and have program execution to continue. All of these do have the word error in them. That kind of makes it confusing. What's the difference between error and exception? They are very similar. We talked about how the main difference really is between a syntax error and all the other exceptions. We can call these errors as well. Here are the main types of exceptions. We have the name error. This is when you have an undefined variable name, oftentimes just like something that is misspelled. A key error. This is a dictionary key that does not exist. An index error. This is an integer index for an iterable that is not available. So you put like a 5 inside the square brackets, and there's just not a fifth index. Type error, that's when the wrong types of objects are used. A value error is when the types are correct, but you have the wrong value. An attribute error is where an attribute or method from some object just does not exist. We looked at purposely raising errors. You can do so with the raise keyword. So you do raise and then the error name, and then you should provide a specific message in quotes like this. One thing we learned to help us find whether an error exists is the isInstance built-in function. So you have some variable, you want to check whether it's a certain type. This always returns a Boolean. If it's the wrong type, then you can raise a type error. We can catch errors so that our program continues to run. To catch them, you have to use a try except block. You have to use both the try and except. So the way it works is the try block is attempted. If it fails, then the except block is executed. But like I said, you should only accept specific errors. And you can use as many except blocks as possible to catch as many number of different types of errors that might exist. We then talked about the else and finally blocks. These are both optional. The else block is only executed if try is successful. Finally is always executed regardless if try or else is successful.